Alright, welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name's Elliott and you're watching Rickety Ski Reviews. Today, we're going to be talking about the Salomon QST 106. I've now owned the ski for almost 1 year or one whole season, and I'm going to tell you how I actually feel about it now that I put some real mileage on it. Now, I treated the ski the same as every other ski. You know, I took it for a few days out and then gave my review. If you want to see that full review, I will link it down below. This is more of just a follow-up. After a year, after getting some real mileage, do I still feel the same about these skis? And the short answer is yeah, I do. I still really like these skis. I still think they're a 10 out of 10. These were absolutely fabulous. But I do have some new insights now that I've spent some real time on them. The first thing is, now that I've skied on a wider variety of powder skis, modern powder skis are pretty different to old powder skis. And now that I've got a little more context, there are a few things I've noticed. One, these skis are pretty different from most other powder skis, but I think that is in a good way. One, if you look at these skis and just where they're mounted, it could be partially the shape, but these feel like they sit a little bit farther back on the ski than the other skis, which makes kind of a surfy, fun feeling. They feel a lot more like snowboards than skis, which I've talked about in my full review. But I like kind of sitting back, riding out on the tails, and being able to surf up these turns. I've also noticed compared to other skis that they're a little bit more sendy than a lot of other powder skis, especially compared to the Atomic Bent 110 when it's more center mounted, or compared to the Headcore 105 or Myers powder ski. They're probably closer actually to the Black Crows Atris, where they really like to carry their momentum through on the line, whereas some other skis like an Atomic Backland or an Atomic Bent or the Headcore 105, they're a little bit more maneuverable. You can make quick, easy turns. These will kind of float, but they like momentum. They like to kind of carry their speed through the line. And I will say, if you are somebody who's new to powder, that can be a little bit intimidating, but if you're somebody who's kind of got a little bit more mileage in the powder skiing, I don't know, I found it really fun, really rewarding. The second thing I want to talk about is, let's talk about how these skis have held up. And I definitely did not go easy on these skis. So late season in that powder, we definitely had some hidden rocks. You can see, if you look really closely, the edges are kind of burred up, and I've got a little bit of the base coming up. Try to zoom in for you here. Nothing too drastic, but a little bit of the base has kind of chiseled away. That's honestly the biggest mark on these skis. Oh, that and this one here. But overall, nothing too dire. I think once I wax and kind of brush these out, I'll be able to fix them. I have noticed the one thing that's been a little concerning. There's a little bit of fraying on the top sheet, but ultimately, when you're talking powder skis, it's kind of to be expected, especially when you're spending all of your time off trail. Overall, I was really happy with the Look SPXs on these. I like that this binding really performs well. It's very slept-on binding. I think it very much lives in the shadow of the Look pivot. But, I mean, this is the binding they use on race skis, so absolutely fantastic. The other thing is, now that I've reviewed the QST Blank and the QST 106, how do I feel? Am I wishing that I'd gone a wider ski, or am I happy with the QST 106? And I am 100% happy with the 106. The QST Blank actually felt a little bit hard on my hips. I think that if you're cat skiing or something really designated, that's a fun ski. Really deep powder, it makes sense. But for the majority of the days, I had way more fun on the QST 106. They're more comfortable on my hips. I could put a lot more mileage on them. I could kind of get a little bit of turn shape that I liked when I was on the cat track and a little bit on the groomers. But again, this QST 106 is primarily made for powder. And honestly, the QST 106 is a little bit more distinct in its shape and a little bit more distinct in its surfy turns than the QST Blank. Overall, I'm much happier and I'm glad I got the QST 106. Now with this ski, I went with a 182 length. This was my first real designated powder ski that I've owned. Obviously, I've demoed plenty and owned some in the past that were kind of older models, but this is my first modern designated powder ski. Before I was just running the Atomic Vantage 90s or what, you know, kind of whatever I could get my hands on. This year, having a designated powder ski, I think 182 is perfect because of the way it kind of sits back, and I was able to learn and become more familiar. I think if it was next year, I would go into like the 186, 188, just as I feel a little bit more confident. I think I would have enjoyed just a little bit more flotation and a little bit more room. I don't think I need quite as short of a ski to maneuver in the trees. It's nice, it's more comfortable, and maybe I'll end up regretting that. I mean, 182 is still plenty long for someone like me at 6'1", but I don't know. I could see myself sizing up slightly. I wouldn't go like crazy with 190s or anything, but I could see enjoying a 186 or a 188. I don't know, just for the sake of testing it. The one thing I really like about these skis is just how smooth they are and how surfy they are. I used to snowboard a lot, and this gives me that same satisfying feeling as a snowboard. Just the kind of the way you float, the kind of the way you wash out your turn on a big pile of snow is really satisfying and really fun. So now 1 year later, do I still think that these are a 10 out of 10 ski? Absolutely. I think that the QST 106 is my favorite Salomon QST ski for powder. I think if you're looking for a daily driver, I've seen some comments that people use this as a daily driver, and I probably wouldn't. I would go with the QST 92 because that's just way more comfortable on your hips. But for a designated powder ski, this is my favorite. I still think this is a 10 out of 10. You know, knock these top sheets for being a little bland, and they are definitely bland, but I like that they're almost soft-spoken, and then you get these bright colors underneath. It's interesting, I may still do it. The next ski I'd like to buy is the Atomic Bent 110. I just liked it so much and it's so different from the ski, but it's hard to justify wanting 2 pairs of powder skis. And one thing that's interesting is with these Look SPXs, we were able to move the binding just a little bit forward. This heel piece has a little bit of flexibility. I think it only goes up or down a size. So we were able to get Zach on these skis, and he actually didn't care for these that much. He said that he felt like the tips kind of crossed each other. Now, Zach and I are very different builds, very different ski styles, so take that for what it's worth. I can see that, especially when I first got on them. I noticed the tips like to cross a little bit, but once I got used to the ski and once I figured out the style of where to sit back and how to wash out the turn, that pretty much disappeared, but your mileage may vary. So take that for what it's worth. Zach was not a huge fan of these, and I want to be honest with you guys. As always, I'm not paid by Salomon, I'm not paid by anyone. I just bought these skis with my own money. I wanted to share my insight with you. If you're interested in buying these skis, I'll have a link down below. A small portion of that goes to the channel, but not a ton. But if you want to support the channel and you're interested in buying these skis, that is a free way to support us here. I actually bought the 2023s last year, and I would highly recommend that you buy the 2024s. There's still plenty of them, and they're very heavily discounted. And as far as I know, I haven't heard any big changes for the 2025. So that's a good way for you to save money. You know, I'm not incentivized for you to spend more money. I'd rather help you out rather than worrying about whatever percentage goes to the channel. Just get a good deal for yourself. All in all, I still think these are a 10 out of 10. I've enjoyed and feel like I've become a better skier learning how to ski on these. I like the ski style on them. I feel like this is the most unique powder ski style that I've seen out on the market. If you're looking for something more forgiving, you may go with the Bent 110 or the Backland 102. But if you're looking for something that's pretty sendy and pretty fun, and you're good at looking ahead on your powder line, I can't think of a better ski to recommend than the QST 106. Maybe the Black Crows Atris gets pretty close. I don't know. That's the closest comparison I can think when it comes to the ski. And that's also a very nice ski, that Black Crow Atris. So anyway, just a little bit different content. You know, I know pretty much everything I said holds up with this QST, but there's a few kind of updates. And I don't know, I don't feel like it's fair to just tell you guys, oh, here's everything about the ski, without being honest about some of the quirks I found with extra mileage. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this content. If you like this kind of video, please consider liking and subscribing. That's a free way to support the channel. Like I said before, I will have these skis listed down below. But more than anything, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for taking time out of your day to watch my content. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.